What's going on, guys? Good morning. Welcome back to United View. Hope everyone is doing very well. Welcome back to another edition of the Morning View. Yes, we are here live, not Panenka Studios. It is, but it's not Panenka Studios. We're here live, and we're going to be talking about Manchester United takeover talk. Going to be talking about Qataris' interest in Manchester United possibly being the preferred option for the Glazers, which of course is the most important opinion when it comes to selling Manchester United, because it's theirs. They're the one that's going to sell it. They want to sell it for the highest price, but there might be more to it than that, so we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk a little bit about Colomboane. Could he be coming to Manchester United? Those links continue. We're going to be talking about Manchester United, particularly the Manchester United manager, Erik ten Hag. Is he going to be going back to Ajax for another player? Well, Fabrizio Romano says there is interest. He'll be speaking about that this morning. Of course, as well, it's match day. Real Betis versus Manchester United, the round of 16 in the Europa League. Leg 2 is this evening, so we're going to get the latest news on that. So there's plenty to get into this morning, so be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe as well, bottom right-hand corner. How is everybody doing? Let's see what people are saying here. First of all, and Blue Dabba-Dee Dabba-Die is Mr. Reliable late. How dare you? How dare you? No chance. Come on. It was perfectly on time. No problem. It's funny as well because people say this quite often. That Morning View intro has been there for a while. So much so that it's actually outdated. It's got Cristiano Ronaldo. It says still in it. So we've got to edit that out. So you can, if you go back, you'll be able to see because that's how long that one's been there. So we've still got to. We've still got to get that right, but nevertheless, that is the Morning View intro. I don't know about you, we've got so many intros here on United View. You've got the normal one, which to be fair has evolved. If you go back to the real early days of United View and look at that intro compared to the intro now, talk about an upgrade. It's so much better. It's got sound effects, it's better effects on it. It looks and sounds better. Then you've got all of the special intros that we've had, whether it's Europa League. I mean, there should be like a some kind of poll or some kind of show where we just play them all, like a weird top 40 thing. Because there's the Europa League, there's Christmas, there's the tour one. So there was a Thailand one, there was an Australia one. What other ones have there been? There's been a Halloween one. Has there been other ones? I'm trying to think what the other ones were. I feel like there's a lot more than that. You can let me know what the other ones are. But in my head, I'm definitely thinking Europa League, 2 tours, Halloween. I remember Halloween because I thought Halloween was brilliant. Christmas. Oh, there was Flex on the Beach, which was the Jamaican one as well. That's it, yep. Sergio says it there. Flex in Jamaica. The short-lived Flex on the Beach series as well. That was enjoyable too. So there's been a few. Let me know your favourites in the live chat too. KG that comedian is also in the chat this morning. He says, morning family, man like Owen, me and KG were exchanging messages late last night. If you've been tuning in to KG's channel recently, you'll know I forget which hate along he was doing, and I called in and it turned into some form of a weight loss contest where the winner actually gets a physical wrestling title bout on their shoulder. And I sent KG a message last night saying that I'd done my training for the day, I'd done my exercise for the day. He sent his back saying he had done his. So the competition is well and truly on. Of course, we'll keep you updated about that on KG's channel. We were talking about maybe doing something, so keep an eye out for that. And it's all to keep you healthy, yeah? It's all to keep you feeling good physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. And who's going to win the title bout? I mean, I'm willing to put a significant amount of money into a title bout as well. So there you go. Big up DJ as well. Says, big up brother Owen. Best YouTube presenter in the game. Wow. Thank you very much for the compliment. It makes me feel very uncomfortable. Let's move on and let's talk about Qatar, possibly the bid being in pole position when it comes to the next owners of Manchester United. So yesterday was actually quite a big day. And also, actually, because I've noticed I just did it there, some people have been pointing out that I always push my headphones back in my ears because they're going to fall out. I don't know what it is. AirPods do not fit me very well. Whenever these are... I changed like the buds on them, and still when I talk, I don't know what it is. They always fall out. So I have to do that all the time. It's such a pain. It really is. Now moving back, There was a lot of talk yesterday about the takeover situation at Manchester United because we're entering stage two. We're entering stage two where there are more significant meetings between the interested parties and Manchester United and the Rain Group, the representatives of the Glazers as well. And basically, what those details and what those meetings rather are really going to consist of are more concrete financial details about Manchester United, presentations about what would be required for the stadium, the training ground, all that kind of stuff. Those meetings are going to be taking place at Old Trafford, at Carrington. There's going to be the chief financial officer of Manchester United being involved in them too. The one with Sheikh Jassim's representatives is going to be taking place today. Sir Jim Ratcliffe's representatives tomorrow after Nice compete in the Europa Conference League tonight. But there are also other parties too. This comes from the Telegraph saying that as many as 8 groups are in talks with Manchester United about future ownership of the club. Out of those 8 groups, we do know that there is obviously Sheikh Jassim and the Qatari bid, the 9-Tomb Foundation. We know Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos. We do know that Elliott is involved in that as well. Of course, they're not looking to purchase Manchester United. They're looking to add financial options to the Glazers, possibly with a minority stake, a cash injection for the Glazers to stay, possibly to do up the stadium and add to the training ground facilities, whatever. But they're saying there could be 5 other groups that we don't know about. Now, if you go on social media, you probably have seen some of these rumored groups. I mean, I did see one that was like a fan share group. I did see something about that. Some are just remaining to be private for now. They could be, and this is just me speculating here, but they could be any number of American consortiums. There does feel to be this contrast, isn't there, between one day you hear something that says there's a lot of interest in Manchester United. The rumours that were out there initially saying that there wasn't any interest or there weren't many bidders for the club or anything like that. That's not true. There are a lot of interested parties. And then the day later you get, wow, the Rain Group and the Glazers were pretty surprised that only a few people came in for Manchester United. So I don't know whether I believe it or not when it comes to that. I think the safe bet is to go with the people that have been publicly reported, names to faces. We know Sheikh Jassim from the 9-2 Foundation from Qatar. We know Sir Jim Ratcliffe when it comes to Ineos. We know Elliott. I mean, when it comes to other people, last week they said, it's only 3 people have gone to stage 2. But now they're saying, well, actually, there's 8 groups involved as well. So until they come out publicly, which they don't have to do. This is a multi-billion pound transaction if it indeed goes through. Even if for a minority stake, it's at least what you would think 1 billion, 2 billion, something like that. So it's still a lot of money. So some people might not want to be in the public eye. But it's also as well when it comes to some of the other people that are interested, they're thinking, well, I don't really want to. I don't want to come out publicly against them because that's in terms of financial point of view, that's something that we would lose. So we'll wait and see when it comes to that. But really the big bit was from Jamie Jackson from The Guardian, writing yesterday that essentially the Qatar bid is in pole position. He writes, Sheikh Jassim bin Hamad Al Thani is emerging as the favourite to buy Manchester United ahead of Sir Jim Ratcliffe. Sheikh Jassim bin Hamad Al Thani is currently the favoured bidder for Manchester United of the Glazers, due in part to his potential to open up business opportunities in his region to the American owners. And to be honest, that kind of sums the Glazers up, it really, isn't it? Getting 5 billion quid, they want 6 billion. I'd still be really, really surprised if Sheikh Jassim paid 5 billion. He's not far off, I don't think. I think he put a bid in, what was it? It was $5 billion or something like that. So that was obviously a bit under 5 billion quid. So maybe you'll get up to 5 billion quid, but it's not anywhere near the sort of 6 billion price that's been quoted by the Glazers. There were other reports that suggested that as part of these stage 2 meetings and these stage 2 discussions, part of it was representatives of Rain to sell to these bidders why it is actually worth 6 billion. And you go, what? That's like a backwards negotiation. You've got these people here that are willing to pay a significant amount of money, a world record fee for a football club. They're willing to pay that. And you're saying, no, this is why. As if, imagine you're there, you're going to pay like 5 billion quid to purchase something, and you get a presentation from the company you're trying to buy telling you need to spend more. You've come in with 5 billion. Well, I'm going to sit through these slides on PowerPoint. I've got my clicker here. I've got those shitty transitions, like a star transition, screen wipe, like that. That's going to make you pay 6 billion, isn't it? What? What? So that's apparently part of those meetings, but it sums up the Glazers, because not getting 5 billion quid ain't enough. They need more. And what's that more? That more is future investment opportunities, is future money. And this was why, when the Qatar bid first came in and was first made public, and they first went on record that they were interested in purchasing United, it all started to make sense. Think about it, it all started to make sense. We had seen Avram Glazer in Doha, yes, during the World Cup, but also afterwards. And Manchester United isn't the only business in their portfolio. Obviously, they've got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but also they've got shopping malls, they've got hotels, they've got a variety of other business interests in their business portfolio. And of course, it would benefit them to do good business with a Qatari entity, so that in the future, whatever other business they want to do, whether they want to open a new hotel in Doha, whether they want to expand, open a shopping center in Doha, whether they just want investment in another property, if they're looking to build a new shopping mall in the United States somewhere, and they go, hey, we want it to be the biggest and best mall in the world, or certainly in the continental United States. Hey, I've already got some connections in Qatar. I already know some people that have got some money. I'll pick up the phone. And they're not, for all that they are when it comes to leeches, destroying Manchester United, frankly, a cancer to the football club. They've been killing Manchester United, taking dividends out the club for years and years and years. They're not dumb. They're not stupid. And to be honest, you could argue they're not bad businessmen, because when you think about it, what they are on the precipice of doing completely slaps in the face of football and football ownership. But they are, robbing English football blind with what they're about to do. They purchased a football club with leveraged debt, money they didn't have, money they didn't own. They put the debt on the business. They've never put in really any of their own money into the business. All they've done is take money out of the business, and they are going to walk away with 5 billion quid. That is, forget Seth Rollins at WrestleMania 31, heist of the century, Money in the Bank cash-in settings, Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, stomp, 1, 2, 3, Rollins is the champion. Forget that. Okay, the Glazers were the heist of the century in the way they purchased United and the way they're going to sell United, make 5 billion quid, and in addition to that, make future money, because they'd be good friends with Qataris. So because of that, they can profit their other businesses. So they're not dumb businessmen, and I think they'd be looking at immediate future and also long-term future as well. So that's their kind of mindset. And there are other factors involved in it as well. It would appear, considering the other bids, that Sheikh Jassim's maybe been the person that's willing to go the highest. It's a much cleaner and smoother transaction, i.e. we know that Sheikh Jassim has been on record saying that he wants to purchase 100% of the club, which is not what Sir Jim Ratcliffe wants to do. He wants to purchase the Glazers' majority stake of the club. I think it's 69% of Manchester United. So the minority shareholders would still have their stakes. The debt would still remain as it is. Sheikh Jassim is, I want to purchase everything. I would assume make it a private company once again, as opposed to a public company floated on the New York Stock Exchange. I'm going to wipe out any debt, and it's just going to be a lot cleaner that way. So, according to Jamie Jackson of The Guardian, the Sheikh Jassim's bid is the preferred bid at the moment. Now, it also continues here. It's not only is Sheikh Jassim's bid seemingly the preferred bid, and seemingly is he becoming the favourite to purchase Manchester United, but also, as part of this piece written by Jamie Jackson, there's a bit more when it comes to the Glazers' reaction to Sir Jim Ratcliffe as well. It continues by saying, there is a sense that the Glazers have not yet warmed to Sir Jim Ratcliffe. He plans to travel to Manchester after watching his club Nice playing the Europa Conference League on Thursday. So in addition to according to Jamie Jackson, the Qatar bid being preferred, and the Glazers thinking about what business they could do in the future with people based in Qatar based on this possible transaction. They're saying that they also haven't warmed to Sir Jim Ratcliffe. Now, they don't say why. I think that's an important thing there. They just Jamie Jackson just says they haven't warmed to Sir Jim Ratcliffe as well. Why that is, I don't know. We do know that Sir Jim Ratcliffe has been on record in the past saying he's spoken to Avram and Joel Glazer. I believe, if you cast your mind back to the summer when that piece first came out, I think it was a spokesperson, wasn't it, from Ineos, saying that they wanted to buy Manchester United, or they'd be interested in purchasing a majority stake with. And actually, when you look back to that statement, it makes sense for what his bid is now, because I believe the statement at the time was, we're interested in purchasing a majority stake with view of full ownership of Manchester United, which is essentially what his bid is now. It's a majority stake with a view of full ownership, i.e. he would have the controlling interest in Manchester United and would be able to make key decisions. So that's basically, he just lived up to what he said he was going to do, or Ineos said they were going to do in the summer. But after that, he had done a couple of interviews, and I think he had spoke at a couple of functions, and he was asked about United, and he said, I'm paraphrasing here, that Joel and Avram were really nice people, but the club wasn't for sale. If it was, we'd approach that later on. But according to Jamie Jackson, they haven't warmed to Sir Jim Ratcliffe. Again, what that means, I don't know. It continues by saying Sheikh Jassim bin Hamad Al Thani is intent on purchasing 100% of Manchester United without taking on any debt. Again, that comes from Jamie Jackson from The Guardian. Let's see what a DJ is saying here with a super chat. I appreciate the contribution, my friend, as always. Says, Glazers are opportunists, trying to receive $5 billion for United and asking the Qataris to scratch their back in return. Scratch their back in return, Owen. The unmitigated gall of it. Well, again, it shouldn't be a surprise or anything like that. Now, I don't think it'd be, written in clear detail like that. I don't think it would be explicitly stated in any agreement to purchase Manchester United, but you know what business is like, right? It's all about connections. What do they say? It's all about who you know. And even if Sheikh Jassim's foundation, company, whatever, buys Manchester United for the price that is quoted, whether that's 5 billion, whether that's 5.5 billion, whether that's all the way to the 6 that they're looking for. That's not to say that the Glazers will ever do business with Sheikh Jassim again, but Sheikh Jassim certainly, you would think, could connect people, or people within Sheikh Jassim's realm, could connect the Glazers for future potential investment opportunities. It's not out of the realm of possibility, and to be honest, it's purely logical when you look at it that way, really. And the Glazers have always been about, making a buck. Where's the next injection of cash going to come from? And to be honest, we've heard all of this talk about infighting in the Glazer family between the siblings. I think there was 5 or 6 of them, whatever. And the two co-chairmen of Manchester United, Avram and Joel Glazer, they're the ones that are still trying to hang on, trying to still find ways or considering ways, or could we stay? Maybe should we stay? The other siblings are like, we're out, we don't want anything to do with this anymore, let's go. So when they see these offers on the table, they're like, take them. But also, they're just as equally involved in those other business ventures. In fact, they might be even more involved in those business ventures than, say, Joel or Avram, because they might just be involved in maybe some of the more sort of sporting entities, like United, like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And they might think, wait a minute, do this deal, and then, all of those shopping centres that I have, yeah, we can put some phone calls in. So, again, that makes sense from that point. But, we still are in fairly early stages when it comes to it. And as I mentioned, we are in stage 2. And it would appear that there are going to be more stages when it comes to the Manchester United takeover process. And the representatives of Sheikh Jassim, by all accounts, are going to be in Manchester today. Yes. It was reported yesterday that Sheikh Jassim bin Hamad Al Thani's representatives are due at United on Thursday, and Sir Jim Ratcliffe is set to attend a presentation by senior management staff at Old Trafford on Friday. Both parties have made offers to buy the club, with Elliott Investment Management also reportedly making it through to the second stage of the process, although the firm is said to be offering funding rather than a takeover. Presentations are being made to prospective bidders on behalf of the club, and it is reported that the focus of these meetings will be to explain why the Glazers' valuation is what it is, with that claim being it's between £5 billion and £6 billion as well. So, which is kind of what I was just saying previously, that it's got weird now, hasn't it? Because the opening stage, that soft deadline, that Friday, was it like 2 or 3 weeks ago? Might even be longer than that. That opening soft deadline was the sort of 3 or 4 paragraph proposals from all of these people. I want to purchase Manchester United. I want to do this, 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 and this. This would be how much I'd be willing to purchase the club for. It's not a firm offer. It's just this is how much I'm thinking. And then they go through that. A couple of them went public. Qatar went public. Of course, Sheikh Jassim's 9-2 Foundation went public. There was a press release. Same with Sir Jim Ratcliffe / Ineos. They went public with a press release putting the Manchester back into Manchester United. All that kind of stuff. And then now the roles have reversed. The roles have reversed, saying we appreciate the interest, but now we're pitching to you. Why, you know, like, it makes me feel like Manchester United's turned into a timeshare, doesn't it? You know, when they go, I don't even know if these kind of things still exist. You can let me know if they still do. But I remember seeing, I think they were around quite a lot in like the 80s and the 90s. Where people would go to these like investment seminars or investment opportunities, and there'd be a terrible PowerPoint presentation or just a slideshow on an overhead projector. Remember what those were? And with a clicker, and essentially they would have this property in, I don't know, Mexico or something like that. There's an amazing holiday destination, an amazing holiday home, and they've got all these people in the room, and all you have to do is pay this amount of money, and then you're technically part of it. It's a timeshare. You're part of it, and for 2 weeks out of the year, you get 2 weeks. You can go to this place in Mexico. You can go to this. It's yours. You can go with all of these other people. And then you can sell your part of the timeshare, or you can keep it, and you can keep paying. It feels like United's a bit like that at this point. We know you made us an offer, right? But now let's pitch to you. Yeah, let's see all of these financial documents about how much revenue we make. Yeah, you see this stadium? They knock on it, something crumbles from the ceiling. You see the training ground? They have a walk around there. They do the paint thing, and they go, "That's gross." About that 5 billion, it's looking more like 6, isn't it? Yeah. And also look at all of our fans on social media. Oh, it's feeling more 6y, isn't it, than 5 billion? Yeah. That's what we're looking at the moment. That's basically what this next step is. Ultimately, I really don't think it's going to land on 6 billion quid. It just feels unlikely, doesn't it? And there is posturing still going on. We saw that through the media last week with I saw Kaveh Solokol on Sky Sports saying that the Qataris were willing to walk away. We're willing to walk away if the price isn't right. We don't want to get brought into a bidding war. We don't want to get pulled into a bidding war, and we're not going to get dragged through the coals. That's not going to happen when it comes to us. No, if you want us to overpay, we'll walk. And in reality, I'm not sure they really want to walk away. They just want to get a fair price. Just because you've got all the money in the world doesn't necessarily mean you want to spend it. Now, when it comes to Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos too, they might be thinking, if they're getting pitched why Manchester United is worth 5 billion or 6 billion, they might be sitting there going, look, that's great, but my offer's 4.5 billion because I can't afford that much more. Now, I've already got loans from JP Morgan and I forget who, the Goldman Sachs. I've already got those investments, those loans, they're ready to go, but I can't go much higher. So it's all well and good you sitting there telling me why I should pay more and why this is worth more, but this is my offer. This is how much I can pay. That's it. And Elliott, if they're sitting in the room and they're being told it's worth 5 or 6 billion, they're sitting there going, well, look, we're willing to put in like 1.5 billion, but we don't want to buy Man United. We don't want to buy the whole club. We just want a minority stake. We want to help finance something. And to be honest, that could actually rule Elliott out if you think about it. If the Glazers or representatives, because it won't be the Glazers, the CFO, shall we say, of Manchester United, the chief financial officer, is sitting there telling everyone why they need to put in more money, why they need to spend more, Elliott might be looking at going, so you're telling me that the 1.5 billion that we're putting in, that's not even barely enough to cover the stadium? We're out. we're out of that. We thought we'd just put a bit in, maybe we'll get a return on investment on that. We're partial owners in one of the biggest clubs, if not the biggest club in the world, but you're telling us we need to put in more? No, thank you. Okay, nope, not having it. Not no chance. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens when it comes to these meetings over the next few days, and I'm sure, as I mentioned, we'll hear a lot more about it. Once again, Simon Stone basically repeating this, so it's definitely happening over the course of the next 48 hours, that Sir Jim Ratcliffe is set to be at Old Trafford on Friday to receive a presentation about the potential sale process of Manchester United. I am sure. Can you imagine the journalists or the paparazzi waiting outside Old Trafford to see if they can get a picture of Sir Jim Ratcliffe going in? If it's going to be, they said it was going to be him in person, which isn't the case with Sheikh Jassim. It's going to be representatives of Sheikh Jassim and his foundation are going to be there today. But even so, people that can get those pictures, come on, yeah, it's going to be worth it. And social media is going to go crazy when it comes to that. And to give a bit more detail on, again, what's going to happen at these meetings, Simon Stone says parties interested in Manchester United have been taken to Carrington, where on Friday there will be a media presence as Ten Hag will be holding a news conference. Basically, that's going to be fascinating too, Friday. And that's not usually the case, actually, because usually with these Europa League games, particularly when they're away from home, maybe it's a bit different because it's earlier today. Kickoff's at 5:45. But usually after the Europa League games, he does the press conference right after, and it's embargoed until Friday. But from what Simon Stone is saying, that's not going to be the case. We're going to get a live press conference on Friday from Carrington, which is interesting because there's going to be a lot of questions going, hey, Eric, I know you weren't around. I know you had a game that you were playing, but have you heard anything? Have you bumped in to Sir Jim Ratcliffe today? Have you seen any of the representatives of Sheikh Jassim? Has Richard Arnold or John Murtaugh, have they spoken to you? And of course, Eric will probably say what you would think. He'll probably say is, we don't really talk about that. We don't focus on that. We're just focusing on football and all that kind of stuff. So certainly going to be a very interesting and busy day when it comes to the Manchester United takeover situation in the next 48 hours as well. Be sure to smash a like on the like button, guys. Got nearly 1,000 people watching. Less than 150 likes. Let's see if we can get it to 250, 300. You know what it is for a solo stream. See what else people are saying in the chat here. Wizard saying 4.5 should be it, really. See what else people are saying here. Cab says smash the likes, people. Yes. Andrew says, I just hope Man United culture survives ownership like Qatar. We're sad to see it turn into City or PSG. I think it will, but that is a must. Which of course is going to be concerns about that. Big up Owen. Lewis Jackson with the laughter emojis. Yes. But just to actually get your comments up there before we move on, because I do want to talk about Erik ten Hag's comments about Arsenal as well. Makish says that urine on the floor is going to drop the price big time. Did you see that? Did you see that on social media over the weekend? There was a clip that went viral. And clearly, one of the toilets had overflooded at Old Trafford, and there was it wasn't good. The stadium is iconic. I can't describe truly the feelings that I get when you're walking up to Old Trafford or when you're driving up there, and for the first time, you just start to see the white. I don't even know what they're called. Those white metal bits at the top. You know the things I'm talking about. When you just start to see that, you go, oh my God, it's Old Trafford over there. I can't believe it. And then there's something like in your stomach or your chest when you go, and it is iconic when you stand out of it and you look at the wonder of it. It's incredible. And when you do go up the concrete steps and go through the bowels of Old Trafford and you see the pitch and the greenness opens up in front of you of the pitch, it makes you have butterflies. But it's old. parts of it are legitimately falling apart. Roofs do leak. Every match day you feel like there's a video of either the roof leaking, a bunch of toilets over flooding, or and when they couldn't sell any food or drink because the cash machines were down or the tills were down and all that kind of stuff. And I think it's when you go to like that stadium, and that's the only stadium you go to, you don't really notice it. You go, oh, that's bad, and they need to fix that. It's when you go to other newer stadiums, you go, oh, it's not it's not meant to be like that. Like, for instance, even if you go to Wembley and you see it for what it is and you go, oh, yeah, that's what it's meant to be like. That's what, or if you go to, the Spurs stadium, you go, oh, that's a modern stadium. That's what it looks like. And that's why I always say, things change, things evolve. Even if you had to knock it down to build it back up on that spot, maybe that's what you'd have to do. I don't know. I don't know. But a lot needs to be done to Old Trafford. And that's part of the reason the ownership situation and the takeover situation is in the position that it is in, because it's going to cost a lot. And the Glazers don't have that much, or certainly they don't have that amount they're willing to put into Manchester United. So because of that, they're in the position that they're in. Now, I do want to also talk about this morning, before I go to some other things, Kolo Muane, an Ajax youngster, and talking a little bit about the game this evening too, is these comments from Erik ten Hag in the press conference. Now, I did talk about this yesterday in the press conference reaction, so be sure to check that out if you haven't already. But I have seen the honestly most bizarre, and I shouldn't be shocked at this point, but bizarre reaction to this on social media over the last 12 hours or so. Now, the quote was about Erik ten Hag talking about how he hasn't had a fully fit squad. He hasn't had a fully fit squad for pretty much the entirety of the season. He said the only time he had that was against Manchester City at home this season. And even then, it wasn't really a fully fit squad because Martial only had 45 minutes in him. He had to come off after 45 minutes. He came off at half time. And he said, quote, Arsenal almost all the time, their squad is available. Now, I have seen Arsenal fans, and not just Arsenal fans, and I almost understand why Arsenal fans would overlook the almost in there, but I have seen the media. I have seen Twitter accounts, I have seen major outlets and broadcasters get that quote and say that Erik ten Hag said that Arsenal have never had any injuries this season, which to me is mind-blowing because he didn't say that. He did not say that. He didn't say that in that point. I've seen some bits when the quote's there, and then they've said, oh, Arsenal never had injuries. He didn't say that. Now, I said this in a tweet at Owen United View. Give me a follow. I don't really tweet that often or anything like that. But I said in the tweet that as soon as he mentioned Arsenal, and I did say this last night, I felt it was a mistake because I disagreed with him on that. To say that Arsenal have almost had their whole squad available all the time this season, that's not true. I mean, they signed Gabriel Jesus in the summer. It's been well documented. He's been out for 3 months. Emil Smith-Rowe is a good young player for them. He's been unavailable a lot of the time. Partey has missed big matches for them this season. He missed the match against us at Old Trafford. He's always going to pick up injuries. So to say that they've had almost their entire squad available, I suppose factually it's accurate because if you've got 1 or 2 people out, it's almost your entire squad. But the moment you name drop a club like that, it's going to send them into overdrive. And he does afterwards preface it by saying, but it's not about them, it's about us, all that kind of stuff. And again, I feel like they've taken that quote completely out of context in actually what he was talking about. He's talking about the situation that he's in right now when it comes to we've got a lot of injuries or we've got suspensions, and his point was you've got Eriksen injured, Garnacho injured, you've got Sabitza's just come back from injury, you've got Casemiro who's suspended, we've had Varane out with an injury at one point this season. Our striker, we're two-thirds of the way through the season at this point. We've played 2/3 of a season without a striker, without a striker. That is, You have to get that across with how successful Ten Hag has been this season. To do it essentially without a striker is kind of nuts. And not even in the sense of like, but Man City won a Premier League title without a striker. They did have a striker. They had people like Gabriel Jesus. They decided not to play them. It was part of the system to play a false nine. For us, we want to play a striker. Erik ten Hag wants to play a number 9, and for the majority of the season, he's not been able to. We've only been able to the last couple of months since January, and that number 9 is a £3 million loan signing. That was emergency because, again, we don't have a striker. So, that's his point that he's trying to get across. He's never been able to name a full squad. And I know that most managers can say, well, a lot of managers can't name a full squad. But his point was, I haven't actually been able to name a best team really this season all that often. Because his best team, probably in his mind, is Anthony Martial. That's his best striker. That's the striker he wanted to play. You saw it in pre-season. That's the best striker he believes he has at the club right now. And he can't play him because Anthony Martial is never fit. It's halfway through March. He still hasn't played 90 minutes this season. To be honest, he's probably gone in the summer because you can't rely on him or anything like that. So I think that's what he was trying to point out. And as soon as he said Arsenal, I went, don't say Arsenal because you know what it's going to be. And Arsenal, now I see all the Arsenal fans quote tweeting it, removing almost from it and getting angry saying, see, look, and this is what they don't understand when it comes to press conferences too. He got asked the question. It's not as if he just brought this up or anything like that. It's not as if he got asked, Eric, how are you feeling about the draw at the weekend? He went, we've got injuries. Arsenal never had injuries. No, he was asked. The question was, do you feel you're a couple of players away from an injury crisis? The journalist said crisis to him. And again, they take the rest of it out and they just see that bit. And he says almost 2. And the Arsenal fans going in a meltdown about that. It's like, oh my goodness me. If you're an Arsenal fan, enjoy where you're at. You're top of the league. You're going to win the league this season. You're going to win the league. Like, who cares? But they're so offended by that. Oh my goodness me. M. Sati with the super chat says, I think he lost his coolness a bit, mentioning City defeat in Old Trafford and Arsenal squad. True facts, but no need with this dodgy press and media. Well, you know what? I did say that during the reaction yesterday, that you could tell as the presser went on, I think that he was clearly frustrated with some questions that were being asked. When they kept, because there was a really weird line of questioning where he was talking about, stuff that makes sense. And he was talking about the referees, which is absolutely an issue to get frustrated with. And he was talking about, in the recent injuries, particularly Garnacho and all that kind of stuff. And then for the final third of that press conference, it turned into, how far are you away from winning the title next year? Can you win the title next year? How far is this group away from winning the title? Do you think you can come back? Do you think you can come back from the defeat? Well, the defeat against Liverpool was over a week ago now. They won last Thursday. And to be honest, if they hadn't got a red card at the weekend, we probably would have won that game against Southampton, logically, you'd think. And he did look a bit pissed off by it, honestly, towards the end of it. And the thing is, and you just know, especially with the Man United press, they are waiting. They are waiting for you to say anything that they can jump on. He did it before the game against Newcastle. He just said, oh, they're annoying. And boom, 20 questions. Annoying? How are they annoying? What are they annoying about? Are they annoying about? What do you mean by annoying? Annoying? You said annoying? What's going on with annoying? And it's like, whoa. Think back to when the Ronaldo stuff was going on earlier on in the season. There was stuff just made up. They had to point at people, said, I'm pointing now. That's bullshit. He had to do that so many times. And recently, and over the season, he's developed a good relationship with the media, but they're ready. They don't care. People have short memories. Remember last season with some of the stuff that was being written about Manchester United? Now, some of it may have been true, and United were in a shambles last year, but some of it weren't. They'll just say anything. So some journalists hold on to stuff. They will hold on to a negative story until the right time to drop it. Think about that. I remember, when was it? I forget. I think it was after maybe the Arsenal game when we lost, and then a story about McTominay from 6 months ago came out. Talking about people who said about Scott McTominay last season. What's that got anything to do with now? So I don't know. I felt bad for him because I felt that his words were taken out of context. I felt that they were misconstrued. I don't think he should have brought up Arsenal. And the moment you bring up any other club, people get angry, people get upset. Thing is, I don't even think if it was another manager like Pep or Klopp, I would say, oh, he's being very tactical here. He's trying to play a game here because they do that 100%. Like Klopp does it all the time. Sir Alex used to do it all the time. Mention another club, try and shift things around, getting their head, all that kind of stuff. I don't even think Ten Hag was doing that. I think he was just talking, and I think now people are really angry and outraged about it, and it's just stupid. Kogo Black is the latest member of the UV Members Club. Welcome to the Members Club. You can join the Members Club by clicking the link in the video description as well. It's also the pinned comment in the live chat. You get your badges, your emojis, and your exclusive members-only content. There's UV Raw. There's your Members Priority Chat. There's Q&As, all that fun stuff. So you get all of that as part of the membership club as well. Now, I've got to move on because I've already rapidly over time and not done hardly any of the stories I was meant to be talking about this morning. Excuse me. I tell you what, coffee, and because I'm trying to be healthy. Again, me and KG are serious about the weight loss. Yeah, very serious. But it means breakfast is boring. Almonds, protein shakes, smoothies. Kolo Muani, yes. Now this is a story that I feel like we've heard quite a few times actually. Now this came from Florian Plettenberg in Germany. He tweeted, news about Kolo Muani. Can't confirm that Manchester United is preparing a 120 million euros offer for Muani. Been told that he's definitely on the list as a possible transfer target for the summer. But internally, Osimhen is rated higher than Muani. Osimhen is one of the club's main priorities. Now this isn't the first time we have heard that. Man United have won a... Man United want to buy Kolo Muani. We heard it in January. Look, from what we saw at the World Cup, I think he's a really good player. It's difficult to judge people based off the World Cup, but I think he's a good player. He looked lively when he came on. Should have scored in the World Cup final, certainly. But I just don't know how much stock I put into this. I mean, he's literally said at the beginning of that, can't confirm that United are preparing a 120 million euro offer for Kolo Muani. I really think that's, not going to happen. I mean, if Man United are willing to spend 120 million euros, which is basically 100 million quid, they're going to put it on Osimhen and maybe try and go a little bit higher. That's really what they're going to be going for. Or even that thing, they'll probably go for a Harry Kane. Or they'll go, that offer, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but isn't that the release clause for Gonzalo Ramos? So if they have that amount of money they're looking to spend on a striker, they'd probably just end up going for Gonzalo Ramos, I would think, because they get him with that. I mean, it's still, I think, overpriced, but I think he's a good player. But I don't put a lot of stock, honestly. What I will say is Victor Osimhen last night, and ironically enough, I think maybe this is where this story comes from, because last night was Napoli versus Frankfurt. My goodness me. Old Victor Osimhen was on one last night. He scored 2 goals? He is on fire. And I said a couple of weeks ago, and this isn't to be like, see, I told you I'm right. Everyone else on YouTube, everyone else in content creation is wrong, and this guy here sitting in this chair knows everything. But I mentioned a few weeks ago that I felt that Napoli might be the dark horses for the Champions League, and I really mean it. And at the time, there were some people like, no, then Napoli, no, I'm not sure about that. And I know they played Frankfurt last night, which is a good draw. That's a good draw to get into the Champions League quarter-final, which, of course, they're now in. There are 3 Italian teams in the Champions League quarter-final as well. Napoli and both of the Milan clubs. And I know it's, again, a good draw for them, but they are, I mean, well clear when it comes to the top of Serie A. And because of that, they can, maybe prioritise the Champions League, and depending on who they could get a good draw. It's not out of the realm of possibility. There are some teams still left in that competition that you could see a route to the final for Napoli. You really could. If they got, who's the final group of people in the Champions League? Let's have a look. Okay, so if they got, let's say, if they got someone from Italy in the quarterfinals, which I think they can at this point, you'd say, okay, And if they got, a Chelsea or whatever, I'd fancy him getting to the final. I really would. Because I was looking at the Champions League, or Benfica. There's absolutely a decent route for them to the final. Napoli, by the way, think about it. I'd fancy him to beat Benfica. I'd fancy him to beat Chelsea. I'd fancy him to beat AC Milan. I'd fancy him to beat Inter Milan. You'd say maybe Real Madrid, that would be tough. City, that would be tough. Bayern, that would be tough. But the rest of them, I tell you what, they might get closer than people think. And that's why I said a few weeks ago they were my dark horses. Osimhen scoring goals. They're on form. I think they'll do it. Well, I'm not saying they'll win it, but I think they could get to the final. And I was saying before, if they do get to the final and they do win the league, does that make Victor Osimhen more difficult to get? Does he stay for one more season? Or does that really sign his ticket to leave Napoli because it's a case of, well, he's basically done it. It's never going to get better than that for him as a Napoli player. Champions League final and Serie A trophy. Maybe not. Yeah, it's an interesting one. Raminzo says Chelsea are dark horses. Well, look, the thing is with Chelsea, everyone's waiting for them to snap into form. I think they're in their best form of the season, 3 wins in a row. So maybe it does click. I'd be surprised because I've still watched them play a few games recently, and I still look at them and go, I'm not sure. They still look a bit over the place, honestly. As far as who do you think is going to win the Champions League this season? I think I was watching last night when Real Madrid played Liverpool, and honestly, I thought, I know Real Madrid probably aren't going to win the Liga this season, but there's just something about them in the Champions League. I wouldn't be shocked, honestly. I wouldn't be shocked if they did it again. I know they're not as good as they were last season, but remember, they were all the way through last season in the draws they were getting in the Champions League, whether it was PSG, whether it was City, even Liverpool in the final was like, oh no, they're going to lose this one. They're going to lose this one. There is something different about Real Madrid in the Champions League. You cannot write them off. And I wouldn't be shocked if they did it again. Bayern Munich, I mean, they comfortably really got rid of PSG, so they're always in that conversation. Look, City, I think City depends on the draw, honestly. Leipzig was an excellent draw for them. It would be really interesting to see what would happen if they played a Bayern Munich or a Real Madrid again. Any other club you'd fancy them to beat, honestly. So City obviously got to be a favourite, but I don't know if City will do it, honestly. And Blue Dabba Dabba says City or Napoli. A lot of people saying because of Haaland. Wiz is saying Napoli drawing Real, City or Bayern. They will lose. Makish says Bayern as well. It's going to be an interesting one. Of course, the Europa League draw also is on Friday for us if we get through, which hopefully we will. A couple other stories before we wrap things up this morning. We've still got plenty of time though. And be sure to smash a like on the like button. We've got over 1,000 people watching. Less than 250 likes. Let's see if we can get it. See if we can get to 500. I mean, if half the people watching clicked like now, we'd have done it. Easy. No problem. So I believe in you. I believe in you. You can do it. You can do it. The next story we're going to be talking about is Ten Hag going back to Ajax for another player. Yes. Now, this was reported by Fabrizio Romano late last night, saying that he understands Manchester United are one of the clubs informed on the situation of Ajax 2004-born talent Van Axel Dongen as a potential free agent. Ten Hag knows him. Ajax have offered him a new deal until 2027. There's still no full agreement. Now, like you, don't know a lot about. Now, this is a name that's going to be difficult for me. Amaricho Van Dongen. I think that is something like that. What's that? It's disgrace his cheeks. Wait a minute. Bloody hell. Bloody hell. You know what I did? I left my heater on. I've got like a space heater like right here because it gets cold where I am. and it's one of those temperature ones. When it gets to the temperature, it turns off, and it will turn off for like an hour and a half. And then it will turn back on and it will make a really loud noise. It's a disgrace, it's a cheat. Bloody heater. Bloody heater. Bloody technology. I've forgotten what I'm talking about now. I'm flustered. And look, the boss is watching too. Nah. What on earth? Shit. Yeah, Lil Yo says, sounds like a kettle going off. It's a heater. Shall I try and get it? Shall I try and grab it? No, can't be bothered. But this has happened to me. I've been filming stuff the last couple of days, right? I did a video on my channel. City tried to sabotage me. It's true. I did a video on my channel, and I was like 30 minutes deep into doing it, and the thing went off. It's nearly as bad as when Flex has to answer the door. I forgot. Disgrace is cheat. What was I doing? Oh yeah, I was talking about an Ajax youngster. Amaricho van Axel Dongen. Yes. So I, like many of you, had never heard this player. Did a quick Google search again. He's 18. He plays actually as a striker, as a forward, and by all accounts, lots of people are interested in him. He's being described by some as a wonder kid, an Ajax wonder kid. If we talk to Ajax, or if Ajax is in the chat or anything like that, maybe he can provide a bit of a scout report, a bit of an update on them, and maybe they can provide us some as to, you know, Josh. They want to clip me. Go ahead, clip me. Yeah. I mean, people are now telling me I've got off topic. It's your fault, Fleck. It's not your fault. It was me. I got really distracted. Yeah. Now look, the thing is, I'm gonna get the heater. See, it's just this. It's just a heater. It's went off. I'm not sure what me having it actually proves as well. Stupid bloody heater anyway. I'm not even hot. I didn't need it to turn on. Yeah, I'm fine temperature-wise at the moment. Red flag. Yeah, disgrace cheat. Have a bit of that. What else were we going to talk about? Oh yeah, we were going to talk about the game this evening. We're going to be talking about Real Betis versus Manchester United. Exactly. I'm not hot. Yeah, I'm not hot. Tom Heater. Yeah. Cold-blooded. The question. I tell you what, we've still got the clip of Flex's question to Lisandro Martinez when he was in the press conference yesterday. Should we play that? Let's play that. Yes, let's. Here's what Flex asked Lisandro.
Hi, Lisandro. You've won the World Cup now, as has Rafael Varane, and together at Manchester United, you've now won the Carabao Cup. What's it like playing with him, and what do you guys think you need to do to get to that next level and continue to be, perfect partnership?
Well, Rafa is an amazing player, and I really enjoy and I'm improved to play with him. We always enjoy to also in the trainings, but the good thing is the working hard. I think we are doing an amazing job, but we have in the back also Victor Lindelof, Harry Maguire. They are always ready. I'm happy because that we have really good connection, and when you have that player, when you have that connection, you can have clean sheets and you can play sure in the back.
Big up Flex for asking the question. Big up Lisandro Martinez for answering as well. A lot of people talking about Heatergate. I don't know what we're talking about. Don't blame a heater. Don't blame heater. Don't blame. The thing is now, to my right on the floor, there's just an unplugged heater that I've pushed over. This is why I'm not. This is what happens when you take food away from me. This is when I have to exercise. Stuff happens. Yeah, I need proper food. I need to forget my fitness pal. Oh, It's a disgrace. It's a cheat. Yes, but to wrap up, talking about the game this evening, Real Betis versus Manchester United. Of course, we bring in that 4-1 lead. Should be straightforward, one would think. Ten Hag did say he was going to play a strong side. He said Casemiro was going to play. He said Bruno Fernandes was going to play, even though they're both on bookings, which is a bit of a concern. Not so much for Bruno, because I don't think he'll get booked. I think he'll... I think he can control himself. Wow, here's hoping. Casemiro, when he was on a booking earlier this season against Crystal Palace, he did get booked. That would be my concern. But that was late on in the game. I think Ten Hag's strategy is to play a strong side, go a goal up maybe in the first 45 minutes, and then make significant changes. If Manchester United are 1-0 up and he doesn't take Casemiro and Bruno Fernandes off, I'd be like, what? You know, I'd be like, wait a minute, is my heater malfunctioning? I'm too hot. Maybe I'm seeing things. Maybe there's some kind of mirage in front of me, some kind of delusion. So I think that trying to work in as many heat puns as I can for the last sort of 4 minutes of the show. So I think that's what his game plan is. Lisandro Martinez was in there with a press conference with him, so you would think he's going to start as well. So you would probably think starting lineup would be De Gea in goal. Right back is an interesting one. I'd play Wan-Bissaka. I'd play Wan-Bissaka because he hasn't been starting enough games recently. So I'd say Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Aaron Wan-Bissaka. I'm trying to think if I can do every player with a heat pun. That's what we're going to try and do, but I'm not sure how that would work. Lisandro Martinez, I think obviously he's going to play. The Iceman, opposite of Heat, Victor Lindelof might start alongside him because I don't think Varane will play. Left back, Terrell Malacia, I think will start because I think Luke Shaw needs a rest. He's looked quite leggy, he's looked quite fatigued in recent games. Casemiro will start in midfield. Alongside him, Terrell Malacia. I mean, it doesn't really work. The puns have got to really work. They've got to be smooth. You can't just put heat at the end of everything. Lil Yo-Yo. I mean, when you say David De Heat or Casahitro, kind of, Diogo Dal Heat does not work. They have to work. There's no pun involved in that. I think Malacia will start at left back, Casemiro midfield with probably Fred. I think Rashford will start on the left. Anthony on the right, Anthony Heat on the right. Through the middle, Bruno Fernandes, and it'll probably be Weghorst up front. I think that's probably what will happen. Robert Blake here is an interesting one. Says, you do need some background in finances to talk about the sale. We've done an interview. Go check it out. Flex spoke to David Hellier from Bloomberg. This was a few weeks ago, but certainly an interest because we don't sit here and profess to be financial experts. You just read what you see, on the news and in all of these articles, form your own opinion. Don't come on here when it comes to going, I'm a financial expert, put on my glasses. I mean, I'm hardly a financial expert. My heater went off. 3/4 through the stream. It's oh yeah, Anthony's sick, isn't he? Anthony is sick. He's not playing. He didn't travel, so it'll be on the right hand side. That was the one, wasn't it? It could be Facundo Palestri. It could be Facundo, but I don't think it will. I think it'll be Sancho. So I think it'll be Rashford, Bruno, Sancho, and then Weghorst up front. That's what I think it will be. Yes, Marcel Subhita. That kind of works. That's not bad. That's okay. I think that one's pretty good. So there you go. What a show that is. This is why I'm not allowed to do many solo streams for morning views or anything like that, because I get in trouble. So be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right hand corner. Big day. It's match day. So of course you've got the match view, you've got all of the fan views, all of the reaction still coming out from after the game. Hopefully when we'll be into the next round of the Europa League. Friday, if we are through, will be a busy day too. Of course you're going to have match day reloaded. I'm going to be solo again. Oof. And there's going to also be the Europa League draw that day as well. So there's plenty to get into and watch here on United View. Also as well, if you missed it yesterday, how could you have missed it? You can check out the match preview. You can also see Flex crash Real Betis' stadium as well, giving you a behind-the-scenes look at that club. It's about, I think it's like 30 minutes long. It's well worth a watch. If you haven't already, be sure to check that out. I'm out of here. Have a great Thursday. Come on, United. And I'll speak to you again very soon. Peace.